Thank you for asking, and thank you for doing that. I'll say I'm not honestly sure how many people are going to come this morning. We had like about like 120, 130 registrations, but I also am aware that people are really, really tired of Zoom. And I think especially day two of this conference, it's been a lot. And I also think that like at this time we have 5 total different workshops that people are choosing between. And so I think it's maybe might be kind of likely that we might not get very many people to come in, but it's okay because I really want to see your presentation, and you guys are still going to get paid $1,000 to do this. Um, and so, yeah, AS is a ridiculous organization. AS is a ridiculous organization, but we have the funds, so we may as well put them towards a better use.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you. And so we got this recorded, and this will just go into our archives. And so, folks can, chime back into it. But without further ado, in the interest of everyone's time today, we'll go ahead and kick this off. I'll go ahead and let my colleague introduce himself, and also we're going to be showing a couple videos. So a breakdown of what we're going to be doing today. My colleague's going to show a video that was made, and he's going to unpack that video. I'm going to jump on and I'm going to introduce myself and show a video that was made and unpack that video. Then we're going to go through a presentation of Underground Scholars and the work that we do. And also we're going to highlight some of the recent movements from the university to ice us and remove us and try to erase us from this campus. And so we're going to present that as well. So without further ado, I'll pass the microphone to my colleague, Juan. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. My name is Juan Brangudiel. I'm a fourth year ethnic studies, Chicano Studies major with a minor in applied psychology. I am an Underground Scholars recruitment coordinator, and I'm just going to give you a little bit background about the project itself. The Trojan Woman Project is a project out of the UC Santa Barbara Classics and Theater Department, and it's held like once a year for about 3 weeks during the summer. One of the project's main goal is to take social activism out of the classroom and input it into the community, by collaborating with incarcerated youth females. The other goal is to focus on the issues of the carceral space and the enslavement and oppressions through its media-driven and rethinking and rewriting of the Europeans of the Trojan Woman. The Trojan Woman Project it lives like right at the intersection at the crossroads of art and activism, so this is shown through like the digital storytelling by the individuals who are in prison or are free, and they're being guided by to make this masterpiece by facilitators. So this is done through that certain prompts that is inspired by the characters in the play, that these students use like their own perspectives to kind of bear the challenges and the tragedies that heroines that is devastated during this war, and we're still dealing with today. So to explore such currency of this, they usually invite like certain guests and artists, scholars, and some prison officials to kind of just collaborate with everybody just to kind of make such a video like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of show my video. Let me see if I can.
Juan, I'm so sorry, but thank you so much for your introduction. And I just got a message from one of the other interns that they'd like us to return to the main room so they can introduce all of us together. Can we hop back to the main room and then jump back into this room? And then
should I start, Chris?
Yeah. Go ahead and pull up your video and everything, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, I'm gonna start from the beginning again.
Actually, I got it recorded at the beginning, so.
Chris just told me that's why.
Okay.
So okay. So obviously we're the Underground Scholars program, and I'm just gonna give you guys a little bit of background about the project and how we made a little our videos. After I just give a little bit of explanation about that, I myself will be showing a little video, and then my colleague will also be showing a little video. So just to give a little background about this project, It's the Children Women Project. It's a project out of the UC Santa Barbara Classics and Theater Department that is held about once a year for about the length of 3 weeks. One of the project's main goals is to take social activism out of the classroom and input it into the community by collaborating with incarcerated youth females. The other focus is to focus on the issues on the carceral space, the enslavement, the oppressions, and this is done through his media-driven rethinking and rewriting of the Europeans of the Trojan women. The Trojan Woman Project lives at the crossroads of art and activism. So this is shown through the digital storytelling by the individuals who are in prison and free, and they're being guided by the storytelling facilitators that are being brought to them. This is done by using some writing prompts and are inspired by the characters in the play. These students, they use their perspectives to bear the challenges confronting the tragedies of the heroines that are devastated by the war and the loss that are still prevalent to today. So to explore such currency, this course they invite 4 guests, either scholars or other prison officials, to kind of just in solidarity, just make certain masterpieces within themselves and in collaboration with the youth female. So I will be showing a little video right now. Let me see if I can share my thing. Okay. I was coming home when I saw my neighbors bringing in groceries. As I look at them, I wave and say, "Hello, neighbor." She takes off running inside their apartment. He jumps in the back of his car, shuts the door. The look on his face of stupidity was priceless. You don't know me. You don't know half the stuff I've done or the life I lived. But you want to start judging me? People judge me. Tell me what to do. Decide what is best for me. This is me now, in college, with friends, a family. Many would assume I've had a wonderful and joyful life. Yet this has only been the past few years of my life. I truly believed I had a normal childhood. My stepdad beat me, always believing it was something I did wrong, and probably so. My best friend will get beat too, and therefore I believe everyone got beat. This is something you never speak outside your family walls. Until one day I was kidnapped by the state of California. Who has a right to decide what is right and wrong for a child? This is my life. My life. My life. The Department of Children and Family Services thrives on their motto of safety, well-being, and permanency. Not once did I ever feel any of this. Being a maid, being a money back to those who cared for me, being tossed from different homes, placements, insane asylums, and correctional facilities, being poisoned with chemicals, never truly acknowledging my mental disabilities of PTSD, anxiety, severe depression, and being bipolar. I was demonized, criminalized as a no good, useless boy, thrown to the side, only to reinforce the statistics of foster youth being in poverty, homeless, incarcerated, or dead. How is any of this any better than being beat by my dad? This was my Hector. A social worker being a rebel Yet those in power impeded in her way, in aiding and protecting me. I was pushed through, thrown out, and became another lost and forgotten soul. People make mistakes. People change. Some need that first, second, third, 100 chance. My 1000 chance came as my partner lifted me from below the gravel, which engulfed me like quicksand. I was set up to fail. I had nothing to offer to anyone. I contemplated ending my life again. I was a thug chasing my dreams. That's what I was. I did time in the halls. Now I'm trying to live wholesome and protect my kids. Because this cold world doesn't give a shit. In the name of Hector, I dance for all my brothers and sisters who have become a part of the system failure and were set up to fail from the get-go. I sing for all my fallen soldiers who have been lost and were made a statistic due to the system failing them. Those who live their lives out on the cold concrete streets in a box and forgotten until their death, where society never knew they even existed. I am their Hector. This is my life. My life. My life. And that was my video. So thank you so much for just watching my video, and I'll pass it on to my colleague.
Hey, what's up? What's up? Thank you, everyone. That was really powerful. One, thank you so much for sharing that with us. That, you know, it was a blessing to watch. I watched that hundreds of times, and I love it, and it just grows on me every single time. So I appreciate you allowing us to see this today. So what's up, everyone? I'm Flaco, formerly incarcerated student here at UCSB. You know, it's been a journey to get to where I am today. And honestly, I wasn't supposed to be here whatsoever. I was supposed to serve the rest of my life in prison. I went through the school to prison pipeline. They told me I had ADHD, told me I needed drugs in order to be normal at 6 years old. So at 6 years old, the school officials, you know, and the school physicians turned me into a drug addict. And so, you know, from there, you know, I was locked up by the age of 12 in the halls, and went to YA in camp, and just been, you know, on a journey. Went through the jail system and the prison system. My last term, I did 7 years, and I went through a lot in those 7 years. 2011, we did the prisoner hunger strikes. We starved ourselves for 20 days. 2013, they didn't meet our demands on the first hunger strike. So we did an agreement to end all hostilities, and all factions within the California Department of Corruption came together, and we, you know, united as one, and we did one of the biggest hunger strikes that's ever been seen before. We starved ourselves for 33 days in New Folsom State Prison, and we wanted our demands met. We wanted the end of the segregated housing units. We wanted the end of the cruel confinement conditions that we were suffering from, and we got our demands met. We've abolished the segregated housing units within the California Department of Correction. So today, I'm going to show you all a video that I put together, just like Juan. It was with the Trojan Women's Project, and I really, showcase, the divide and conquer that exists within the prison industrial complex. And I call for all of us to unite and stand up. And one thing that I want to say is, we've seen a lot of changes. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for protests. So everything that myself and Juan do here at this university is out of protest. We both got 3.97 GPAs out of protest. We both show up to this space out of protest because we've been marginalized and locked out and labeled gang members, labeled convicts, labeled felons, to continuously marginalize us and stigmatize us and keep us locked out. So we show up and out of protest, and so we're here at the Social Justice Conference out of protest. And we'll get into that in a little bit as well. So let me share my screen real quick. Let me see. Can you hear it?
Prison traumatic stress disorder. After serving my time in the segregated housing unit, one day they cuffed me up and said I was going back to the main line. They transferred me to a level 4 maximum security prison called Salinas Valley, better known as the Death Octagon, as so many inmates die or are killed there. I learned quickly this is a vicious place. The first yard I go to, I see a homie get his neck split with a shank. Yard recall. They leave us on lockdown for a couple of months, then it would happen again. Another stabbing, another long lockdown. This is how my time in Salinas Valley went. Then we started programming, going to yard and going to school, and out of nowhere a vicious prison riot erupts. Us Southsiders against the Norteños. They rushed us with a bunch of homemade knives, but we outnumbered them by 25 and we savagely protected ourselves. This was my first experience with the prison riot. They are the bloodiest barbarian events, very hard to explain to a person who has never been through it. Right after this, I was then transferred to New Folsom. 2 months later, I got in my next second chance. I was out at yard walking around with a homie around the track. I'll never forget this moment. A bird took a shit on his shirt. I started clowning him. Haha, essay, you got shitted on by a bird. We continued to walk around the track to a water fountain so the homie could wash his shirt, not knowing that a bloody riot, one of the most gruesome ones in New Folsom State Prison's history, was about to erupt. I remember it got very quiet. The homie looked up at me and said, "Is it me, or did it just get super quiet?" I looked over to see a couple of our homies digging up our stash of homemade butcher knives. I then seen all the homies gathered at the top of the hill in our property. I told the homie, "Let's get to our property, something's up." We get up there and the homie hands me a huge butcher knife, looks me in the eyes and says we're rushing the Bay Area blacks. And within the blink of an eye, we were like army ants rushing at full speed. Why are we fighting? We're both oppressed. Why are we fighting against each other, falling into the hands of what this system wants? As the Bay Area blacks came running towards us, I started to stab and stick a guy, and it all became a blur. I was screaming, "Su 13" at the top of my lungs as I stabbed a guy who fell to the ground, and I heard as concrete chunks hit me in my face. I repositioned myself, and I continued to stab the guy on the floor. I was in an unconscious state of mind full of warrior adrenaline that I didn't know existed in me. And again, boom, concrete chunks hit me in my face. I saw a prison officer zeroing in on me with a Mini 14 semi-automatic rifle pointed at my head. I then realized he was trying to kill me. I instantly stopped to take off, running up a hill to see a group of my homies getting 3 Bay Areas. We were then shot at again. By the time this battle ended, it had gone on for 10 minutes. When I sat down and came back to my mind, I seen bloody bodies laying everywhere. As I watched them escort lifeless bodies off the yard and I looked around to see all my homies on top of the hill in the Bay Area's property, it dawned on me I almost got shot in the head twice. We sat there for hours as helicopters flew around in the air. It was all over the news. We were on lockdown for almost 2 years after this riot. Why are we fighting? Why aren't we together as one? We need to come together as one. We need to quit falling into these traps that are put in place by the system to divide and conquer us all. It's time to unite and come together, black power, brown pride, and realize that as long as we're divided, we're conquered. Until the day that we are together as one, we will not be able to abolish the system that's in place. So it's time to grab hands together as one force, and fight off this brutal state of oppression that this disgusting capitalist system has brought into our lives. In mass incarceration, how is this rehabilitating us? Look at all this killing, all these riots, all these stabbings. Stop killing each other. It's time to come together as one. It's time to be one force against this oppressive state they call the Department of Corruption.
That's what's up. So yeah, so these were just, some of the projects that we've been working on. We have so much stuff that we've been doing. You could also check out a lot of our videos. And you could, check them out. Here, let me turn this off real quick. How that's really making you feel, right? The next video turned on my end. I don't think y'all could hear that though. But so yeah, so now we're gonna get into our presentation about what our organization does. We're gonna break down our model, and we're gonna talk about our journey here at UCSB. So we've been building a documentary here called Building the Prison to University Pipeline at UCSB, which is gonna be coming out at the end of our graduation in June. And we're also going to continue to follow Juan throughout the rest of his journey here. It's been a struggle to get to where we're at today. One thing I want to also highlight during this presentation and just towards the end is, they continue to try to erase us here. The Sociology Department here at UCSB just denied us Gaucho Underground Scholars access to the graduate program. And this is a way to silence us. This is a way to co-opt our program and try to let admin take control of it. But this program will never work without formerly incarcerated individuals at the forefront of it. This program is designed for us, and we're at a place where, you know, we're tired of others controlling our narrative. We're reclaiming our stories, and we're saying nothing about us without us. And that's kind of our motto for the next years to come. We're tired of people stepping on us to elevate themselves, and to using us and our families and our stories to conduct research and pretend like they're creating solutions for us when that hasn't happened yet. So yeah, so we're gonna pop into this next little sector of our program, and let me see here. All right. Can you all see that? Awesome. All right, cool. So I'll kick it off, and then my colleague will jump in. So the Gaucho Underground Scholars, we started out here in 2019. We came in here, and we didn't have the, so I'll bring it all the way back. So I got out in 2015, August 12th of 2015, the same day that Hugo Pinel was assassinated by the state of California. Hugo Pinel, you could look him up. He was a part of the San Quentin Six, and also was one of the Black Guerrilla Family political organization in prison members, one of the founding members. So he was assassinated the day I was leaving prison. And so anyways, I got out here, I was transient. So meaning I was houseless, and that's how they parole a lot of people. So a lot of people who are living on the streets right now, they're actually coming out of prison and have no address, and they're deemed houseless. And so that's something to definitely research and look into. So anyways, I got out here with 47 units. I met Danny Morillo 3 months before I got out, who's one of the co-founders of Berkeley Underground Scholars, and he said, "Hey, Flaco, you can come to Berkeley." So I had this goal. I'm going to go to Berkeley. And in 2019, I had graduated, and I was an ambassador, and I went through the Berkeley Ambassadors Program, and I ended up getting accepted into multiple universities. I got accepted in the USD. They gave me the Circle of Excellence Scholarship. I had a 3.87 GPA. And they really loved all the community work that I had been doing. So they gave me a full ride on tuition, which was like $50,000 for 4 years. I got accepted into UC Irvine. I got accepted into UC Santa Barbara. I got accepted into Berkeley. I really wanted to go to Berkeley. That's like the go-to school, right? I had a very nice program there. But as I started to analyze each acceptance, I started to analyze the school itself. What did it have for formerly incarcerated students? Well, Berkeley had everything for us. UC Irvine had a lot of stuff coming up. UC San Diego, not UC San Diego, but the University of San Diego had a program that was being formed, but UC Santa Barbara had nothing for formerly incarcerated students. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to have to go into UC Santa Barbara and come together with all the formerly incarcerated individuals that I could find there and create something. And so Gilbert Morillo, who's actually Danny Morillo's brother, got accepted into UC Santa Barbara as well. And so I told, he also got waitlisted for Berkeley, and he really wanted to go to Berkeley. And so I told him, hey, come on, let's go to UC Santa Barbara and let's build an underground scholars there. We came in here and we struggled. The first month here, we were about to get kicked out. We owed like $7,000 and funding to BARC. BARC was about to take us out of all of our classes and kick us out because we didn't have the funding to pay for that. So, we were forced to take loans. We were forced to, because there's no scholarships for us. There's no program for us. We had no idea how to navigate this campus. there was nothing here for us like there was at Berkeley. So we literally had to develop all this. And so I'm going to take you into the next slide and tell you a little bit about Berkeley. So Berkeley Underground Scholars was started in 2013. It was actually at the same time that the 2013 prisoner hunger strikes were happening. They actually all came together, started like a book reading student club, and they were reading books that were coming out around mass incarceration. One of those happened to be The New Jim Crow, and they were unpacking these books, but they saw a need. Danny Murillo and Stephen Sitzfra both sat in Pelican Bay segregated housing units for a lot of years. And so they all came together in solidarity, and they actually went up and joined the hunger strike outside of Pelican Bay prison. And they all starved themselves for a few days in front of Pelican Bay State Prison, and were in solidarity with us while we were starving ourselves behind the walls. And so it came out of formerly incarcerated and system impacted students at UC Berkeley as the Underground Scholars Initiative, which is our student organization. So Berkeley Underground Scholars BUS, which is the program, was established by USI in 2017. We get no funding from the UC whatsoever. This is pure grassroots fundraising. The UC has not given us a penny. We've had to go and fundraise. We've had to go and talk to state representatives and legislators. And so every little bit of money that we've gotten has been invested into our students and into our program development. And so our goal is to increase access to higher education for formerly incarcerated students and their families. And we're also working with incarcerated students as well. So, you know, this just shows you why this is so needed. You know, we have to talk about liberating minds as well as liberating society. Angela Davis. Worst in nation, California spends 6 times more on prisoners than on students. Take that in. 6 times more on prisoners than on students. Look at the costs. You can see the increases as we look from 1970 to 2015, and this is an old graph. It's gone up billions of dollars. We spend $15.7 billion on the Department of Corruption in this state. That's why we're seeing people living on the side of our freeways. That's why we're seeing people living on the side of our streets in tents. That's why they're sucking all our tax revenue away from our communities under the pretense of serving and protecting our communities, which is not happening whatsoever. Since 1980, California built 22 prisons and 1 university. So since we've been here, we've really been trying to show that we have to come together as a community, together as one, to dismantle the mass incarceration project that has extracted all this tax revenue away from the university. And we have to solidify spaces within the universities for formerly incarcerated individuals and their families to enter the university and unwrite everything that they've written up against us. They wrote up the gang injunctions in the university. They wrote up the gang enhancements in universities. They've written up a bunch of different policies that we have suffered from in this state of California. And so that's why we're here today as formerly incarcerated individuals, to unwrite all this crap that they've written up against us and all these labels that they've built against us, in order for the next generation to not have to suffer what we've suffered at the hands of the Department of Corruption. We don't want your children and great-grandchildren to have to experience the inside of a prison cell. And that's what we're unwriting here today. We provide academic advising and UC application support to incarcerated and formerly incarcerated students. The UC hasn't designed anything for us. And, you know, if they really wanted to dismantle mass incarceration and divest from the prison industrial complex, this program would have been here 50 years ago. We've had to fight every step of the way to have a program at every UC. And we're still fighting. We're still having to show up and claim our space. We hire and train community college students through our ambassadors program. I was the first ambassador. It was the first job that I got out of prison. I got out. I applied for an outreach position in San Diego City College, and they denied me because of my criminal history. So they told me that you have convictions history. We can't hire you to work here. And I said, well, I can be a student here. I can go to your classrooms, but I can't work here. Makes no sense to me. So you know, we decided it was best to develop employment for ourselves and for our people, the formerly incarcerated who are locked out of employment, who are locked out of upward mobility and continuously being denied access to employment, access to housing. And so we created the ambassadors program, and I was actually one of the first ambassadors, and they gave me a stipend, which helped me pay my dad's rent, helped me take care of my kids fresh out of prison. We have our cross enrollment program, which supports community college students with enrolling in a UC class. Berkeley Underground Scholars developed all this, and this is the model that we have that we use at each UC. So cross enrollment right now, we're still in the development stages here at UCSB. We're trying to get formerly incarcerated students and system impacted students from Allen Hancock and SBCC to cross enroll into UCSB classes so that they can understand UCSB's curriculums and understand the rigor that exists here. And we can help them, you know, with their transition from the community college into UCSB. We also offer campus tours, outreach, and workshops for youth and incarcerated people and formerly incarcerated people. We do formerly incarcerated student day. We just had a formerly incarcerated student day. It was really successful. I want to say it was in November, and we had like 80 people show up. There was probably right around 20 to 30 formerly incarcerated students who were at the local community colleges that came that day. Also, we did a reentry resource fair, and we launched Thrive SBC, which is a reentry resource app that you can find on the online on Google. You can look up Thrive SBC, and it has all the reentry services that exist here in Santa Barbara County. Retention. Our retention coordinator is Melissa Ortiz. And our retention program provides formerly incarcerated students spaces to meet and study, tutoring, peer mentoring, academic and financial aid advising, leadership development, advocacy, and student employment. We partner with many campus departments to ensure student retention, and we work closely with the Underground Scholars Initiative student org to create programming and events for our members. We advocate, so we have our advocacy coordinator, which is Gilbert Morillo. We advocate for currently and formerly incarcerated students and their families. In addition to individual advocacy for students on campus and on parole, probation, we engage in local, state, and national policy advocacy to remove barriers and create opportunity for currently and formerly incarcerated people. We train formerly incarcerated and system impacted students to be policy advocates in our year-long policy institute. One policy that Gilbert and myself had designed is called the Rising Morillo Freedom Act, which we've put forth to Monique Limon, but never got a response back. This policy, if implemented, would allow formerly incarcerated individuals who have conviction histories to have their conviction histories sealed after receiving a bachelor's degree at an accredited university. This would open up for formerly incarcerated individuals to have employment access, where conviction histories would not lock them out, and recidivism rates after you receive your bachelor's degree go down to like 10%. So, I mean, it's shown, it's proven through research that higher education actually eliminates recidivism. You get up into a master's degree, 0% recidivism in master's degree. And then, so here's our program. It's innovative, adaptive, holistic, and driven by student experience. And like I said in the beginning of this, nothing about us without us. We're tired of being used to advance everyone else's careers. We're tired of being used to make people look good in their professionalism and all the things that they're about. We're here now to be in solidarity, unity, and all we're asking for everyone to do is just respect us. And that's what we're here doing now. We're here to be united with everyone that is all about abolition and all about dismantling this department of corruption that's been sucking our tax revenue away from our communities and using incarcerated individuals as a way to legitimize their careers. We're not going to stand by any longer and let it go on. And we're united. And this is a movement that's gaining so much support from all different aspects and walks of life. And so, we're here to really emphasize that. Our strengths. I'll let my colleague Juan jump in and tackle the strengths and lead us to the end of this.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm just gonna just go over some of our strengths. We have a broad reach. We have a presence at almost every UC campus and many community colleges. We meet our scholars where they're at, in jails and prisons and at the community college and in communities that are most impacted by the incarceration system. So, we try to make this as accessible as possible. We're aware of some of the difficulties that some of these individuals, they don't have that transportation to get to certain workshops or anything, or to even get to us, because sometimes they don't have that technology or anything like that. So we have to try to we try to accommodate these needs, even by meeting them somewhere, wherever they can meet us, and we try to go to them, and we try to do as much as possible in accommodating these individuals' needs, because we know that such commodities are scarce to them. And some of these technology, it just, when they come out of prison, it's a lot harder to navigate some of this technology. And so by accommodating some of these resources and going to them, it makes this a lot accessible to them. We use this with a strong model of recruitment, with the 3 pillars of recruitment, retention, and advocacy, with a focus on academic excellence, professional development, and healing. This is done through our various workshops that we do. Our work is adaptive and tailored to the specific needs and challenges of currently and formerly incarcerated scholars. We have strong on-campus partnership with faculty and administration, and we do this by developing the warm handoff system. So we don't just say, hey, just go to that person. We introduce them warmly, hey, hello, such and such, we have this individual. Is there any way you can accommodate any of the resources that is needed? So we didn't just throw them all cold turkey. We developed that warm handoff system because we developed those relationships with the higher ups, and we directly talk to them. So we just skip the middleman and we go straight to the main one, and we develop the relationship. So then when any of these individuals need that resources, we just kind of just plug them in right away, instead of just kind of tossing them everywhere. Because some of these individuals, you get some information and you just like, oh, go here, go there, like, just skip all that and just go straight to the middleman. So that's developing the warm handoff system that we're trying to implement here on campus. And this is allows for these impact leaders. This is the leadership from our program, are the people who are directly impacted by these issues. So it needs to be driven by such leaders. It needs to be, we're credible messengers. And if these individuals, this program isn't run by these individuals, it's not going to go anywhere. And this program needs to be driven by such individuals who have experienced such experiences in their life. And the reputation, we have a strong reputation with authenticity and success among our students and our allies. And this is even done through our local community with our funders, our community organization, our workshops, any conferences. So we try to just collaborate with as many communities to bring everything tied in together, because we know the community is tied into the university and vice versa. So as long as we can build that bridge, it'll be a lot easier for such individuals to kind of to go through that pipeline from community, from high school and incarceration into higher education instead of vice versa. And then some of our weaknesses, funding and capacity, like one of my colleagues said earlier, is just we have no financial support from the UC whatsoever. So everything is driven by us. We have to go out there and seek such funding from either funding. So this is like insufficient financial support that that we get from the state. So it's a little bit here and there that we have to try to go after for the policies and state legislators. So the GUS program capacity is limited to one part-time coordinator and 2 work study positions. So we have one of the main director coordinator, and then we have 2 other work studies positions. And right now we're working on the 3rd one, which is the advocacy one. So it depends. Some of these individuals, a lot of this work, we know it's grassroots, and we know it's time consuming, but most of this work, it comes from the heart, and we're trying to put some little extra change in the pocket. So we have to try to go out there and fund it, but seeking some funding from the university has been a biggest challenge. And the data and evaluation, we are in the process of implementing tools to better capture our program's impact data. We are developing evaluation tools to practice and practices to continue improving our process and programs. So we're trying to just capture all these stats and just we're tracking it to see the progression and the stats of graduation rates and the recidivism rate. So we're trying to capture all of this to ensure that the university sees the impact of how important this program is, to try to ensure some of this funding by the data and evaluation, because numbers speak words to them, and these numbers speak money. So once we start showing them some numbers, it's gonna hopefully buy some buy-in from them. And and the legal and logistical challenges that we face with many students, they're still navigating open cases. Like my colleague said earlier, it makes it a lot harder once you still have the case, and you still have, you get your bachelor's and you're still dealing with your open cases. And, that's what we're trying to do with all that. But, parole, probation, court supervision, mental health challenges, this is all done without adequate legal and mental health support. They're just thrown out there and like, oh, just, they're transient and there's no resources. So, we work in collaboration with with Thrive to make this Thrive SBC to inform this local community to ensure that these individuals get the resources, and it's all in the one app, so they don't have to travel anywhere. It's all done through one app. So we try to make it as accessible as possible for these individuals to get such resources, because we know that, how housing is one of the biggest one, but mental health is another one. And then, all these resources are found through there. So housing will always, and it still remains the biggest issue for many of our students, as still attending at UC, and they're transient. They're homeless, living in the cars and stuff like that, because of how the financial burden of how it is to to attend such a university. And then some of our opportunities that this program provides, it provides expansion. The GUS program is works with informally incarcerated students on every UC campus to develop a plan for statewide expansion. Our campus partnerships with programs like yours as a key element of the model we're sharing. And this is done through the ambassadors program that we're just trying to develop here on campus. And this is done through Allen Hancock and SBCC. And we're trying to develop, developing and hiring ambassadors that are formerly incarcerated at each community college to help expand this program to build that bridge and that pipeline from CC to basically UCSB. And we do this with our 3 pillars, like we mentioned earlier, which is recruitment, retention, and advocacy. I'm going to share a little bit about each one. Recruitment is, it strengthens our statewide mentorship and recruitment of currently and formerly incarcerated students through growing the ambassador program and incarcerated scholars program. Retention, it removes the barriers and creates more support and opportunities for formerly incarcerated UC students around academic excellence, professional development, and housing and healing. It provides through all this, so we try to provide these resources to them to lower that recidivism rate of them dropping out and just going back, because we know that this is all this is a burden to them, and it's a struggle to allocate some of these resources. So we try to, as much as possible, to do that with these, providing these resources to them. And the last one is advocacy, which is one of the biggest ones that we believe, which all of them are very vital, but advocacy, we need to always be advocating for ourselves. And it strengthens, this is done by strengthening the Policy Institute to develop student skills and policy research and advocacy. The students in the policy cohort will advocate for local and state policies. There's also a need for individual advocacy for students. So these individuals, like you mentioned earlier, they go up to the Capitol and they push for certain state policies to kind of to go through. So it's a struggle, but it develops, it enhances these individuals to develop such skills and to develop to kind of push these policies through for formerly incarcerated students to have an easier access for work, for healing, and everything else. And this is our basically our contact. So you guys are more than welcome to kind of message us at any time. And thank you for your time and everything.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us today. We have a lot of work to do. UC Santa Barbara has, been doing anything and everything in its power to try to erase us off this campus. As it stands, we're the most marginalized sector on this campus. There's only 8 students that are formerly incarcerated on this campus. So we're just a bare minimum of fraction of students here, and they are doing nothing to open up this space for more of us to join. They have not invested in our program. They haven't given us any money. We've had to go out and fundraise on our own. And then when we get this money here, they try to put all this red tape and bureaucracy on it. And then when we try to advance in the ranks of UCSB, they tell us no, make us feel like we don't belong here. And that was the most recent experience. The Sociology Department, shame on them for not allowing us to evolve and continue on with this program here at UCSB. And so we're here today in this social justice conference to call them out. We're not going to stand by and allow you all to oppress us and marginalize us out the ranks of the UCSB campus. We're here to stay forever. And so we're ingraining our program into this campus, and we're bringing in our recruits. So the next cohort of formerly incarcerated students that show up, they're going to put it on UCSB, and they're going to push this institution and its weak leadership, because that's the truth. We're seeing a housing crisis. We're seeing class shortages. We're seeing all of this is due to the leadership at the top here, and we're not going to stand by and allow it to affect our communities and our community members any longer. And so we came to UCSB for one reason: for the community around it. The community of Santa Barbara has the highest recidivism rate in the state of California. Santa Barbara County is all about locking people up, mass incarcerating people from Black and brown communities within Santa Barbara County. And so we came here to create this program and develop the warm handoff system. And so we've loudly represented our program, and we've made sure that there's plenty of stuff that's been published about it, because administration, they want to co-opt it. They want to take it away from us, and they want to do the bare minimum for us and put their Muppets in it to control it. And we're not going to stand by and allow it to happen. Nothing about us without us. And so today, we've came in solidarity, and we're grateful for this conference, and we're grateful for what this social justice conference is doing, giving voice to the Chumash elders this morning was beautiful, because this university is erasing them and trying to, and continuously building itself off the erasure of the Chumash elders and their ancestors whose land this belongs to. And so, you know, as we experience our own erasure around here, you know, we definitely are standing in solidarity with all of our allies and supporters, and saying that, you know, we have a lot of work to do at this campus. You know, this campus has a rich historical activist you know, presence that's existed here. And so onward and struggle we are going to do. And so, yeah, we'll open it up for some questions.
Wow, I just want to say thank you so much to both Paco and Juan. You both did amazing. And I have heard of the Underground Scholars before from my professor in the past, Professor Soto. Just like the work that you've been doing on campus as well, it's just incredible to see how far this program has come. And I just appreciate like your presentation so much. And as someone who is system impacted, it's just, I don't know, touching to see the work that you both are doing.
We appreciate your support and solidarity. One thing that we always emphasize since we've been here is you can't spell community without unity. And I feel like once we get the unity back, we'll have a community again. But you know, they've been really successful at dividing us and conquering us. But I feel really good. I feel like there's a consciousness awakening happening amongst the people, and I feel like we're gonna all come together soon. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Really, really powerful presentation on so many things. Both of your videos were really very powerful, and just seeing the amount of work that you do on so many different fronts is very inspiring. I was wondering whether you could talk a little bit more about the warm handoff program and what that actually means. Yeah.
So Juan is our recruitment coordinator. So the warm handoff system, we're warmly greeting formerly incarcerated individuals. We're starting in the inside though. So we work with incarcerated scholars, and we you know, give them classes. Like right now there's a cross enrollment class from Folsom prison into Berkeley. And so we work with them and we tell them about our program. And then once they get out, we drive up there. We'll pick them up if they don't have a ride. We take them to the community college. We warmly hand them off to the community college. We get them the resources that they need. And then we come together and we have formerly incarcerated life coaches, where we life coach them and we give them coaching on how to get through their classes, how to play chess with their classes, because it's like a chess game, right? We don't want them to come in and take a math and an English class and all these hard classes. Instead, we want to strategically show them the blueprint of the classes that help them ease into the higher education and ease into, you know, transitioning from prison into a university. And so we warmly hand them off to each other and to the resources that exist, and we get them prepared for the University of California with their 60 units that are transferable. And then once they get over here, we guide them to the resources, housing, scholarships. We've already mapped it out. We power map who's the power players that are our allies and who's going to give us lip service. And we already know who is who, because we've been taking notes every step of the way since we've been here. And so that's the warm handoff system. We want our formerly incarcerated and system impacted students to be successful. And we want them to thrive and feel like they belong here. And of course, we're nowhere near where we want it to be. It's still a war, it's still a fight, and it shouldn't be. But you know, as long as we're clearing the pathway and we're marching forward together as one, eventually we'll get to the successful spot where we all want to be at. And so for now, we work closely together. We're a tight-knit group. all the way across the UC. We're not a siloed organization. We're unified. And so we've developed this warm handoff system, which helps with the applications, helps with every step of the way to get your bachelor's degree in and beyond.
Oh, thank you so much. I anticipated that it was going to be something like that, but I did not know how comprehensive that is. The fact that you're starting all the way from the inside, building, and the fact that you even drive and pick people up and help support them along their entire process is like, it feels like there's no holes that you're leaving open. There's no places where people can fall through the cracks, because you're really addressing every single step of the way against all the obstacles. I'm also wondering, for when you start that process by looking for currently incarcerated scholars, how are you able to actually find them? Are there like programs that you're reaching out to? How are you able to actually locate and then get in contact?
I can answer that. This is done through our ambassadors. I work closely with our ambassadors as the recruitment coordinator, and we're always keeping in contact with them. So, we have workshops to help them go out there into their community and to their CC and try to pinpoint who's system impacted, who's formerly incarcerated. And once they allocate these individuals and they basically identify them, I go out there and I try to, we try to just build that communication with them, even if it's a little email, stuff like that. I see their process, and we do that through recruitment. But we also just implement. We also were able to kind of implement on the transfer from CC to UC, where they just basically UC Santa Barbara was one of the first one last year where the question was implemented if it stated if you're formerly incarcerated. So that was another way for us trying to have them directed straight to us. So once, if they check that box off, we'll get them. The whole idea was for us to get the information so we can directly contact them. So, but it's been a struggle. Wearing that label comes with a lot of stereotypes and it's stigmatized. So these individuals, they have fear of wearing that label and identifying with the label. So it's been a struggle, just even for us as recruitment coordinators, to try to identify such individuals, especially at higher education, because of the knowledge that comes with this. So when these individuals are not so knowledgeable about the FAFSA process and the whole everything like that. So most of us we have the fear of like, damn, if they find out I'm formerly incarcerated, they're gonna take my financial aid away, and it's that stereotype and stigmatized that comes with that label. So we don't try to identify. So it's becoming it's a hard process, but little by little we're identifying them, and they're coming to wear as warriors and wearing that label. But we work closely with our ambassadors, and our ambassadors been our champions in really identifying these individuals at the community college level to really
and then
work.
We have the incarcerated scholars program
and
too.
We also have the incarcerated.
So the incarcerated scholars program identifies the scholars inside each prison. And so we're actually currently working on the incarcerated ambassadors program. So we are working towards that right now as well, but it's pretty much word of mouth, and we get thousands of letters sent to multiple of our programs at each UC, and we respond back and we work with them and we let them know that we're here for them, and then they write us and tell us what their needs are, and we help them fulfill their needs. And most of all, we have right now, as you can see, we're getting an art exhibit put together here. And so we have incarcerated scholars and artists who send us a bunch of art. And so we've got the Beyond the Wall art exhibit. That's just a fraction of our art that we've received. We receive hundreds of pieces of art that we couldn't even put up right there. It was just like we just gave a little bit of what we got, and they just keep coming in. They love the work that we're doing because we're one of them, and they see the they can do it if we can do it. And that's the inspirational piece of this program. And it's a shame that, you know, the state of California hasn't invested in this program. It's a shame that the UC hasn't invested in this program, because all they invest in is locking us up. All they invest in is trying to erase us out of our communities. And all they invest in is trying to oppress us and push us down. And so we're fighting for upward mobility every step of the way for formerly incarcerated and system impacted individuals. And, you know, like I said, onward and struggle. We ain't going to stop until we're all free and united. I can't wait to have unity back in community, straight up.
And I see there was a question posted up by Abigail in the chat, and just to quickly try to answer that, and my colleague can kind of follow up on with that as well. We're really close. We actually are one of the founder of the program, the Underground Scholars, Danny Murillo. He's been working closely transnationally, closely with Mexico right now in developing this program over there. So right now there's a program, the Underground Scholars, there's a chapter,
transnational committee.
Transnational committee.
It's at the University of Guadalajara. We have an Underground Scholars program being developed currently. There's formerly incarcerated individuals who are being deported out there. That we actually have a home for them to go to out there now. So we have a homie who created a home for homies, and it's called Guadalajara Sur. And you can look it up, and it's all for camaradas, all for homies, norteños, sureños, and he gets some jobs in the call centers. They have Chicanawa Day, so they have lowrider shows, and every month they all get together and celebrate the culture, the homie culture, and so, you know, it's beautiful what's happening out there in Mexico, but there's no funding. And one thing that we've found is that they're deporting folks back to Mexico, and they're keeping them on parole here in the United States to receive tax revenue. And so we've been investigating this and trying to shine a bright light on this, you know, because it's a scam, it's corruption. They're, you know, extracting tax revenue away from our communities, and they're deporting these individuals to Mexico and to other countries, and they're not giving them any reentry services. They don't even give them $200 like the rest of us get. They just drop them off at the border, and the cartel's right there ready to pick them up. And so a lot of the homies are going down to Mexico with no support, no family, no ties to the communities, and the cartel's right there handing them a gun and saying, hey, I'll give you guys some employment, and then within 4 or 5 months they're dead, you know. And so without opportunities and resources being developed on this end for them out there, you know, they would continue to experience this. But we're definitely developing a close relationship with the University of Guadalajara right now.
That's amazing. I didn't know that. Were you going to say something else, Juan?
No, I was going to say just thank you once again for just allowing us to, you know, giving us a space to kind of come and share our narrative and our program. And thank you so much for the Social Justice Conference for allowing us to be here.
If anything, thank you both for being here. I think everything that you have to say is really important for other people to hear and understand, and your voices matter a lot to us. But yeah, thank you again for being with us at the Social Justice Conference. We are at time, and thank you for answering my question. I didn't know there was like a university down in Mexico, but that's great to hear that that work's happening down there. But yeah, Chris, do you have anything else to add?
Just thank you so much. This has been so powerful and so informative, and we will keep in contact here at the Multicultural Center and continue to try to support your work in whatever way we can. Thank you again, and have a great day. Feel free to come back later and attend for any of the later workshops if you'd like to, or come to the closing keynote if you'd like. Otherwise, have a phenomenal day. We really appreciate you so much. And yeah, just thank you so much I feel like I've learned so much here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We really appreciate this conference, and we will definitely attend other workshops. We appreciate this.
course. Alrighty. See you guys
All
later.
right.
Then
Take
take
care.
care, y'all.
Bye.